This was the
We're
inspection.
going to start.
I'm sure it is.
Welcome to the Board of Public Service meeting. Today is June 5th. It's 4 o'clock. We're going to call roll, please. Oh, today's the 6th.
6-6.
My neighbor says
19.
that clerk.
It does. In the clerk's office.
I was like, wait, I wrote the 6th all day at work today.
Chair Levinson. Here. Commissioner Livermore.
Yeah.
Commissioner Mertz.
Yeah,
Commissioner Nikki Toby. Commissioner Hartley. Councilmember Hamilton.
Here.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. We have a couple of correspondences that we want to start with before we actually start business, please, Carrie.
All right. From Friday, May 3rd, received May 6th. Follow up to my letter of March 18, 2024, and your meeting of April 4, 2024, regarding my appeal of recent water bill. Dear Sir or Madam, following the meeting, I arranged for an inspection of all water outlets in the building, 41-45 D Street, by your city water inspectors. 2 question mark sinks and the shower were found to have very small drips. I had all of these repaired by Minatola Plumbing. The shower, by their inspection, was only 1 drip every 13 seconds. Your people said a toilet in one of the units was running. I was there during the inspection and we had to wait for one of the tenant's clients to finish in the bathroom. The toilet was flushed. When we went in, it was slowly still filling. 2 days later, when Minatola inspected it, he could find no leaks. He flushed it several times. We monitored the meter for 5 days and averaged the daily use and calculated a yearly use of about 70,000 gallons per year. The prior year's use was exactly 70,400, so this made sense. Nowhere did we or your people find any link or source to account for an extra 400,000 gallons. None of my tenants have any business that use volumes of water. A very large swimming pool that holds only 55,000 gallons takes over 3 weeks to fill with a hose. If we in fact have a problem, I need someone to show me where so it can be repaired. I need to know exactly where the increase started and if it is still going on. I apologize for missing your last meeting yesterday, May 2nd, 2024. I called Marianne and asked to be notified as to when the next meeting would be held. She has a log of my call and request. She said that she passed the request on, but I was never told when. I now know that you meet on the first Thursday of every month at 4:30 p.m. I will do everything possible to be at your next meeting, June 7th. Please notify me of anything further that I should be doing in the meantime. Sincerely submitted, John Paul Sweet. And then there's a follow-up correspondence from City DPW. Good afternoon, Dr. Sweet. Per your request, please see the usage history through April of 2024 for 41 Deed Street. Since you had the leaks repaired by Minatola Plumbing, you will see the change in usage in April of 24. Feel free to contact me should you have any questions. Thank you, Marianne Barara.
Thank you. Okay, and Dr. Sweet was given the breakdown.
Yes, that was attached to the email.
Attached to the email. Okay.
Now, that last letter you said from Marianne, I don't know that I received that yet.
So I have it as Thursday, May 9th at 2:24 in the afternoon to jps4145@gmail.com.
Okay,
I can forward it if you'd like. Yeah,
that'd be great.
absolutely.
This time of year with all the elections going on, I must get 1,000
emails a day.
emails a day.
It'll come from Carrie Ann Harrington's email.
Okay. I can search for it.
Okay. This property, we had already made a decision on, and so there's nothing further we can do, but Dr. Sweet wanted it read to record, so that's what we were doing.
Yeah, I apologize for not being here at the last meeting when you made that decision. I had every intention of coming. In fact, I called the next day to see what was going on and why I hadn't been notified yet. I apologize for that. I have already contacted your finance people and we've made a system of payments. We've made the first payment already.
Appreciate that.
I am just overwhelmed by the 600% increase. It's just hard to imagine.
Well, when there's leaks or
There was no leaks.
there's multiple leaks that you've corrected,
Well,
so.
the leaks that were corrected were insignificant, drip every 13 seconds, okay? And that was the worst of them. The toilet did not leak. I had Minatola Brothers there. As soon as I got the bill, looking for a leak, they found none. I had your people come and they listed a lot of these insignificant leaks. And after they left, I had Minatola come and I said, these don't amount to much, but I need them fixed. They repaired them. And they assured me that none of these leaks could have possibly caused the increase you guys are talking about.
Well, I can't speak to that, but we also did, I believe at the first meeting that we had before we tabled it to the last meeting, recommended that you, send a claim to the city because you were claiming that it was also.
I've never been sued in my life and I've never sued anybody in my life and I don't intend to.
It's not a suit, you're not suing the
I'm
city, you're
sorry,
making a claim
I
against
just-
them.
I find that just,
It's an insurance,
It's an
Unbelievable.
insurance claim.
it's an insurance.
but your first letter to me on May 6th, the amended motion was you were going to have the meter tested. I requested that information and it was never done. So I don't know. You came to a conclusion without all the information. And you know, if you look at your chart of usage by month, I have it here somewhere, I don't even know where, I've got so many papers. As I suggested, Mike and Keith went through a whole list of things and calculated the use at about 70,000 a year. And last year's was 70,400 gallons. In 34 years that I've owned the place, we have never had a usage anywhere near this. And ever, it's always been around 70,000.
So,
And so far this year, if you look at this year's, we've already used more than the average
I understand, but
every
you
year, and
also
there's
have,
no leaks.
you have a tanning place there, you have a hair salon there, so they are using water. It's not like the water's not being used.
Well,
we've
but
already
there's no
seen
water involved in
We've
tanning.
already seen this and we can't make any decisions on it, but I do know that there was an email that was sent to us stating that our department did come and inspected the building, identified 2 sinks that had slow leaks and a toilet in time to tan that was continuously running. He informed, the gentleman that was with you, informed you that if you wanted it tested, that he would have to send it out to be tested. He told you to contact Mary Ann, and you asked about the cost to test the meter and a time to schedule to replace the old meter with a new one. If you decided to have it tested, you had to contact Mary Ann, and that was Rob. I guess that was Rob that was there.
I did go in and
Yeah.
talk to Mary Ann.
And that was how our decision was based.
From your letter, I assumed that the extra cost to test the meter, I didn't know I was responsible for that. Your letter to me
Well,
indicated that
the reason being
had
is because
authorized it.
there were leaks, so
But there were
again,
not
there's-
significant leaks.
they're
I
significant
had
enough that you had an
multiple
increase in your
professionals
water
look at
usage.
it multiple
I
times,
understand,
and there was none.
I understand, but there were leaks. You
I
asked
have
us to.
specifically said, if there's a problem, if you can point it out to me, I'll be more than happy to repair it.
They did point them out to
Within-
you. They came there, they inspected, and they showed you what the problems were and said that if you
Well, a
like the
drip
meter
every 13
tested.
seconds is not going to cause 460,000 gallons of water. It's just not possible. And I'm
It's
more
not
than
just
willing
that,
to
it was
fix
also
it.
the toilet bowl that was also at a constant.
And the
run,
toilet
Which can.
I said, was flushed by a tenant, and we went right in afterwards. And we all have toilets at our homes, and you know how they fill. They fill the tank first and the thing, and
Absolutely.
it's still a little bit of motion
And
in
if
there
the
as it's
flushometer
filled.
happens to catch that day and not another day, it still can leak through. It doesn't have to happen every single time, but it can happen.
Well, it was tested twice by Minatola Plumbing. who you guys use
Again, like I
yourself
said,
for all
we've
your
already made a
problems all
decision,
over
I'm
the
sorry,
city.
but there's nothing we can do, the decision's already been made.
Well,
And
it's-
we've recommended that you make a claim to the city as we originally did.
Now, is this one of those meters that you drive by and get the reading on, or does somebody actually go in and read?
That I don't, do you know that? I'm assuming it's.
The remote meter,
Yeah.
it might be a larger line, so I
Not
won't
sure.
be able to speak confidently about it.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Because of the size of the line that goes in, I'm not positive if it's just like or, that it reads from the remote or if it's in person.
It has an ERT on it, so one
Right.
would think, but
So we don't know that there's not a problem with your meter remote reading, we don't know if there's not a problem with the.
Well,
with
the meter is reading.
Meter itself, you've never tested the meter, like you said you were going to.
that's what that
That
email
was
is
what
from.
that email is from, that's what I just
So
said.
they
to
do
you.
an on-site inspection where they check the ERT, they check for any flow through the meter. Any additional testing requires it to be removed and sent out.
Right.
So they do an on-site test when they go there to do the initial inspection.
Well, by the motion was made, I assumed that you were going to take care of all that.
We did, we have the meter, did you want to speak?
No, you didn't. You did not. I'm sorry.
Thank you, sorry.
Yep,
All right, first order of business is 26 West Street, which was held over from our last meeting. And this was penalties, the letter from the owner says that penalty is unreasonably increased to $18.60, please reduce to normal fees. And this was regarding a agent designation form that was not submitted. A letter was sent out on August 17th of 2023, stating that it was due on 10/16 of 2023, otherwise fees would begin to incur. We received the local designation fee on March 27th of 2024, and these were invoices were billed.
This was the individual who, I think I forwarded the email, said he couldn't attend until August.
Correct.
We can certainly table it till August. I make a motion that we, at the request of the owner, table this until August.
I second it.
Call roll. Chair Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindsey.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have 89 Clinton Street. He's not here, so let's take who's here first. 2123 West Street is next on our list. Please, hello, Mr. Stolzer,
Yes.
how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you doing?
Well, thank you.
Good.
So this is regarding the heating inspection number 2 for 21 West Street and the heating inspection number 2 for 23 West Street, both for $1,230. There were prior fees.
I'm sorry, both for how much?
Wait, $1,230?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I misheard you, sorry.
That's okay. I had to be nervous for a second, I have all my notes here. This was the property that had some other fees and some issues. Mr. Stolzer believes that in 2021 that this inspection was done. However, the inspection that our code office received wasn't until 2/1 of 2024 for both properties. So this was originally billed, which we all know, and then I had let them know at the meeting, both last meeting and the meeting prior, when we were trying to get everything straightened out. We had held it over for a month, and let them know that the original invoice that they received was a year-end invoice, and that there would be additional fees once we straightened everything out and everything was taken care of and the inspection was received, which of course it has been now. So you're up.
Yeah, I understand that that it was actually done prior, we just didn't get the paperwork,
What was done prior?
the heating inspection.
No, that was, we received it on 2/1, correct?
I'm sorry,
I was
distracted.
there were a number of inspections, so
Yeah.
in terms of the heating inspection, were you implying that it had been done by the due date?
I was, under the impression, based on the, if you remember Robbie, she,
Yeah,
her recollection was, she told me, was that that had been done. And,
and that she had a canceled check. I thought she had.
no, that was the electrical
That was the
inspection,
electrical.
Oh, that
which
the
was,
electrical-
which turned out to be, in fact, the case.
Okay.
And the code office subsequently actually found their record of it. So it should never have been on that.
And we got rid of
List
those
of
fees.
fees.
And we
So that
removed
was,
those fees.
that was handled last month. This is, in addition to all of that.
Oh, yeah, well, when was it finally the heating inspection?
Well, this recent, when was it? Just
February
a
1st.
few
And when was it
a few
due?
months ago. So, so to the best of my ability, I've determined that it was not done prior. So that is, that's accurate. That having been said, I'm requesting that you consider the impact that all of this has on a family. I just, it seems to me, compared to other, I've looked at a bunch of videos on YouTube, and it seems to me that there's an excessive penalty involved here. And I'm just hoping that the human beings in the room will take that into consideration. The other thing I'd also like to address is I was under the impression that we were waiting to hear back from your wonderful husband on the possibility of reopening the initial appeal based on that there's new evidence that the city did not have at the time. So,
I thought a letter went out to them about.
It had not gone out because we found that this was a separate appeal. So as far as reopening it, the city attorney has advised that that will not be happening and that you should seek counsel from your attorney.
Okay. So, Mr. Stoller, let's stick to this right now.
Yeah.
So there's two fees for the heating inspection for two different there are two different buildings on one property lot, I guess, is how it reads.
it's one property.
It's one property.
It's one property. It's a house and a garage with a one-bedroom apartment.
So right now, the fees are at $12.30 per inspection. They've already been fined close to $10,000, I think it was.
May I ask a question? Is the same heating for both buildings? No, that's why there's two separate fees.
But each apartment has separate heat.
No, I'm saying, but it's, the heating inspection is the boiler, I assume, or whatever you're
The furnace.
heating with, your gas heater, your furnace.
Each apartment has a separate furnace though.
Each building has its own separate heating.
Right, well, that's why
There's two
there's two
separate
different,
buildings, one
that's-
lot, two buildings.
yeah, well, that's why there's two different inspections,
Inspections.
because
Correct.
there's two, I just want to clarify that, because if it were just one and it happened to have, like, if it was all one building and two apartments and they were heated by the same thing, that would be,
Different.
Well,
Why
or
is that
two-family
different?
houses with two furnaces, one for each apartment. So,
And we require an inspection for each of those furnaces.
yeah.
But you don't
Yeah,
charge
absolutely.
double. You don't get two fines if you don't do the inspection, you only get one.
Because it's one building.
One building.
But it's two furnaces.
I'm not gonna argue this.
Now, I know you're not gonna argue this.
We handle every property that has multiple structures, multiple units, the same way. You require
It's
cities.
really on
it just seems
I
there's a
had 50
difference.
apartments and didn't do 50 inspections.
Okay, so let's bring it in,
Different
gentlemen,
ones.
please, for a minute.
Yeah,
So that's the way the code reads. There's not, we don't control that.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I'm
that's
sorry, I'm just
The way our
upset
code
about
reads,
that.
I understand, it's a lot of money, I get it. believe me, one of the biggest things that I have a problem with is the way our invoices read. Like I said to you before, that the year-end invoices don't account to tell anybody that this is just a year-end invoice and be prepared, there's more money coming up the pipe that you're gonna owe us. So that's one thing that I've
That's,
asked.
that had me
hasn't
fooled,
been changed.
and I've been doing this for 23
So
years,
I,
although I've never
we're
had
gonna go
a
to,
situation like this.
I myself am gonna go to council and see if there's something that can be done about that, changing the invoice. We've talked about that in the past. It's not something new, but neither here nor there. The inspections were not done. The code did not do anything incorrect by assessing the fees. Unfortunately, there are another large amount of fees, but, that's where we are. Do you have any questions or?
So, I'd like to say a bit more, actually, because there's more, that, it's astonishing to me that an error was made on the part of the code office by not finding the records they had and putting that fee on the list that they are now responsible for.
Talking
And we
about the
cannot
electrical inspection?
reopen. No, talking about a housing inspection.
That's incorrect.
That was
This is
completed.
incorrect information. The letter says if you do not comply with the code in 6 months, it doesn't matter if you had a housing inspection. It literally says in the letter you received. You have 6 months to complete all the required inspections and get a CSC. We requested a new housing inspection because you had not received a CSC. It's in the letter, it's in the paperwork. Read the letters, read all the letters, everything on them.
Can we get copies of those letters?
You already have them, you signed for them, they were certified mailings.
When did I get these?
That's news to me, I have to say. I got them and I texted them people. When?
Okay, so
Years
I'm
ago?
gonna
no,
make a
it's-
motion
no.
on this that we
Last-
deny the appeal.
Last week, last year.
Due to the appellant saying that they know that it was not done, the code had no did not make any incorrect judgment in assessing the fees.
I'll second
Any discussion? Okay,
Commissioner Levinson?
yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez?
So we have no, there is no new nothing.
Nothing
So
to call lawyer.
The only, nothing to do with call one. But there are other issues. I'm just, this is, it's just,
I understand.
there is a high-profile billionaire who violated a court order, and his penalty was $10,000. And I think you all know who I'm talking about.
I understand.
This is
We
insane.
can only
Do you-
follow our code. I
You-
can't change the
No,
fees.
that's not, that
I'm
is not true.
mad,
Hold on,
please.
relax a
I am
second.
not in charge of fees and we follow our code.
No,
That is what, we
no,
are public
no,
servants to you.
no, that's
We are
not
public
true.
servants and we
That's untrue, because you have modified penalties for other people in the past.
We've
And
adjusted
in
for what's
fact-
necessary.
Oh.
We don't squash fees because it wasn't done. You yourself just said that this was not done. You told me that you had, your letter stated that this was done back in 2000 and,
Right, and I'm telling you right up front that that was it. I was in error in,
I
Hearing.
understand. And there's.
however, the penalties, you routinely reduce penalties for people if they're excessive. The code office has in the past cited people for some of the violations, knowing that there were many more. But in this case, they cited them for every single one, double, basically, and with no consideration for the impact that it has on
Mike, I got one question for you,
Mhm.
which you already answered, but I want you to answer it again. How many years have you been a landlord?
23, 20.
Okay, how many times have you sat up here?
Oh, one time.
All right, that says it right there.
Yeah, and I was right when I was sitting here.
Yes, and you probably had your properties up to snuff. You let one slip through the crack, and this is what happens. It's you, it's not us. Well, I can't say us anymore since
Mistakes happen.
I'm not saying there's no guilt involved here. He should have done what he was supposed to do. Why it didn't, he did something, it's all too complicated, it's, you know, father-son nonsense, all kinds of stuff. But there were, the conversation in that first hearing, or actually, it was the second hearing when it was, the date it was tabled to, and the appeal was denied, there were things said in that were not 100% accurate and could have been a little bit misleading and influenced people's decisions. There were, and there is history, and I mean, I can show you the video of being decent about it when there are enormous penalties. These aren't fees, these are penalties.
You yourself have sat in front of this council and agreed to higher fees for people that own properties, right?
No, not what I said, ever said. I agree.
You yourself have said to me that you believe that homeowners or that have rentals should be taking care of their properties and they should be assessed fees. And the higher fees will keep people from not doing what they're supposed to do.
Didn't say that. I said that when it was first being considered that the code office would be able to assess fees, that I spoke up publicly that was a good idea.
In favor.
Never, ever did I think that something like this would happen. Or, you know, and he's not the only one. There are others that have been, now that I'm looking at it, because I don't pay any attention to this, because typically it doesn't involve me. I mean, John will tell you, do I do a decent job?
Yeah, I mean, you respond to me. And you have multiple
Yeah, I
properties.
respond to you, I'm a pain in the butt to you. I'm at the code office window anytime.
I appreciate
Yeah, so-
I appreciate
I-
your anxiety over it. I get it. I understand it's large fees, but there's nothing we can do about it. We've made a decision. If the decision's made based on your own testimony and the fact that the code did not have what they needed, and so we're gonna move forward, okay? And I am
Absolutely
working
not
on,
okay,
I mean,
absolutely not okay.
I need to move on to the
You
next
can't
topic.
apply the law indiscriminately
We
to
don't
this
apply the law
person one way and to
We
that
don't do
person
that.
another way.
I've
No,
never
yes,
sat on
you
this
do, I'll
board.
show you.
I have never sat on this board and not been fair. I have never sat on this board and not been fair to
No,
everybody
but you've
that
been more
that-
fair to some people than others.
Never, never.
I didn't
That is an
notice
unfair
it.
statement that you're
Dana-
stating about it. We're
Dan,
not speaking.
I
Mike.
didn't
Come on, Mike.
notice it while I was sitting here. I came at the end of that meeting when the appeal was
You're talking
denied.
about stuff that
But-
we've already made decision on. Your son or you or whomever received letters. The
Correct.
letters were sent to you and your property as the
Absolutely right.
owner.
I'm not denying
You came in
any
here
of
and
that.
yelled at Mr. Hartley about how you're not the owner, but
I
you are
didn't yell at
listed.
Mr.
You
Hartley.
did. You yelled at him about how you're not the owner, and then he started bantering back and forth with you. We're not gonna discuss it any further right now. This
I
is
did not
what
yell
we're
at
listening
Mr. Hartley.
to. Okay.
That's not,
You were very stressed and anxious about it, and
I
so
was
did he
being
get very stressed.
chastised by him for trying to explain how the situation developed. And I never yelled at him, although he did deserve it. Anyway.
Like I said to you, I agree with you about the invoices and how they should be read, and there's only so much we can do except make suggestions, and so that's what I'm doing.
So at the meeting of April 4th, there was a couple here who appealed a water bill.
Which is a totally different situation.
No, it's an administrative fee.
No, it isn't.
No, it's a payment
It's
for.
water usage.
It's a,
We're
it's
done
an
discussing
actual
it.
fee.
It's an actual fee
Oh,
for something, yes.
actual fee for a service they actually received,
As
We're
opposed to-
done
And it was
discussing.
waived.
We're moving on, Mike.
and it was waived.
Mike, we're moving on.
You know,
If
this is, you
there's different circumstances for different things.
know,
The board
I
hears it
don't
and
even know
makes
what to
decisions.
say, honestly.
Okay,
You-
so we're gonna move on to
Yeah.
25 Central Avenue, please. And this is no permit issued for this as a short-term rental. We have a letter from the owner stating that they're being fined for a short-term rental and that, over the summer, but it is incorrect, that their summer tenants come through a third-party platform, but are on a 1-month summer share lease. Only 3 tenants is allowed and for 30-day increments. So,
May I ask a question?
yeah,
When was the appeal received?
The,
We don't
So
have
if
a date on this, so,
so this one was actually received later than the appeal period, but that was communication between Colette and I. She was requesting information. I was out of the office for a period of time. I got back to her and I said, you know, you requested this information prior to the appeal to make your appeal. Okay, understandable.
so
She was
what,
waiting for an answer from
all right,
us.
so what were the dates, what was the date of the,
We received the appeal.
no, that, and when was the date of, June 8th, 2023?
so
June 8th, 2023.
Was the initial letter?
Prior to that, so we had been directed by the mayor that we had to crack down on short-term rentals. They were being done illegally throughout the city.
Who directed you to do what?
The mayor.
Well, no, time out. I'm not even gonna start this case.
No, I didn't
No,
hear what it was
no,
said,
no,
so I just
no,
wanted
no.
to ask.
It was brought to our attention by the mayor and by members of the public that there were a lot of people doing short-term rental. And it was decided that we were going to start sending out letters and sending out penalty forms for short-term rentals.
okay,
Yeah,
So what happened after that, and I heard this from Steve, and I said, okay, I'm staffing the
This
office.
is December.
Correct.
Invoice went out in December,
Uh-huh.
and we got the appeal. I mean, when was the communication then that we're using as the date of the appeal?
So, again, there were multiple emails back and forth from Colette and I. We had been in communication. I knew she was going to appeal. Like, she said, I'm gonna appeal. And I said, okay, I'll note that. She was under the impression that she could email me, and I said, no, you need this form in. There was miscommunication there. There was a timeline miscommunication because she was asking for information. And I said, I will get that to you so you can submit your appeal. So there was like a week and a half or something that went by from that. So it was submitted later than in the invoice. It states 30 days. And there's communication back and forth. I'd have to print out, I don't know, 12 emails or something between the two of us.
I just wanted to confirm, because we have not accepted appeals that were late. And I just want to be sure.
And if you're basing it solely, your decision solely off that, okay. But we have other evidence that,
Okay, well, that's what I needed to know, because again, all we got is this paperwork.
sure,
And that's a concern, is just as Mr. Stolzer pointed out, we can't open up any cans of worms because we'll be sorry.
sure. And again, if that's your sole reason, I'd ask you to table it. If you're like, we're stuck on that,
I'm not stuck on it, I just want to know, I just needed to
or
know that.
if you're basing it off of that, I'd ask for a tabling, I'd supply you the emails back and forth, you can read all of them.
We trust that it was within 30 days,
Right.
but we're trusting you. So I'm just saying that any decision we made should be backed up by the actual communication, because otherwise,
And I believe she'll attest to that also.
okay,
Sure, I didn't know that this was even an issue.
okay, it's just checking.
there's a time frame that you have to appeal within 30 days from when you receive your invoice,
Right,
so.
I'm sorry, I didn't been chatting
Okay.
back and forth.
So do you want to give us the gist of,
So in June, actually, we know when the baseball season starts, it's advertised. We knew the 6-day periods they were being rented. And just to let you know, because we've had one other of these, This is an extreme time consumer.
Hmm.
You have to go by, check multiple times a day. You have to, last year, I didn't go knock on the door and ask the tenants for their information in this particular case. We were able to obtain that anyway. But we didn't want to go to the renters and say, you're in trouble, to the renters, because I've had two reactions. Everybody wants to knock on the door and, tell you how, oh, you might be in violation. That can backfire. People become very defensive. They won't give you information. They think they're in trouble. They won't tell you who the owner is. So I've had that. I've had two neighbors confirm that this was a summer rental to me. They're like, we've been seeing baseball families in and out of this particular property.
My house.
Yes. And I've
I don't
confirmed
deny
that.
that, I rent it in the summer to people that come, yeah, I do.
But you
That's a
had no
short-term
short-term rental lease, you had no short-term rental
So,
certificate.
okay, can I just?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I really got what you're talking. I just thought that so my neighbor, it was John Raffner, right, the commissioner, so John's been there the whole time since I bought the house. I think John can attest that I'm a really good landlord. I've made my houses really pretty. I keep them really clean. I make them really nice. I try to be a really good neighbor. I had talked to John many, many years, and I just assumed that we could do 30 days.
This
Right.
John you spoke to?
No, John
So your
Raffner
neighbor.
was my neighbor, right? He was a commissioner, and then he just moved to
Really,
Raleigh.
council member.
Okay. Yeah, so, they knew that I was doing that the whole time, but it wasn't, I'm not doing it every week. I just rent to 3 families. I tell them that they have to go on a lease for 30 days, and so they are tenants in common.
You put 3 families in a 6-bedroom at one time?
No, it's like a shared summer, like a summer share. They can come and go whenever they want.
So you do short-term rental?
But I rent it to 3 people, and they sign a lease. So, I guess that's I thought I was doing it legally. And I guess I would have thought that my commissioner neighbor, who I would sit and have coffee with all the time, would have said to me
He
that's
was a
not
council
right.
person.
Okay, I'm sorry,
That's
well,
okay.
I don't know. So I'd love to learn how to do it right, but I didn't,
Is it
so I
not
just
set
thought
right?
that I was doing it right.
It's still not approved.
I
as
wasn't
short-term rental.
doing
There is no short-term rental in place now.
Still,
For 25 Central, no.
okay, so,
But,
I don't know
so I catch these when I see baseball families coming in and out of the property, when I see multiple license plates, Georgia, Massachusetts, Connecticut. There's one on Center Street she owned. We didn't get that one because I didn't have enough evidence to present it to you guys. I saw our sons in baseball, go
Yeah.
Cooperstown. So I've got all these photos on the Center Street property. This one, Joe went for an inspection. The guy admitted that he was there for short-term rental. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
so the
at
reviews.
least 6 reviews.
well, but those 6 reviews, they're not in 1 month.
Yes, they
Yes, they
are.
are, August,
No.
and then you have
August,
2
that's for
Julys.
another property. That's the whole point, I'm doing,
This says 25 Central.
no, there's, in August, there was absolutely not 6. There's no possible way.
Not
It's
6,
right on your
it says 3.
Airbnb
I know, but
advertisement.
it's not in August. There's no way.
August
I have a
23,
like, the
Julie,
lease.
Jennifer, and Melissa.
Okay.
July was Valerie and Judd. And in June, I have Ann.
Okay, so Julie, Jennifer, and Melissa were all on a lease.
But
And those
they're-
are the 3. There's a 30-day lease.
So there's also
I'm
part of our
happy to,
code
like-
that says you're required to list
I'm
a
happy to
rental
figure
permit
out
on
how to do this.
Airbnb. They don't have a rental permit number listed on Airbnb. It's part of the code.
What, I'm sorry, what is?
If you have a short-term rental permit, or you're listing things on short-term posting sites like Airbnb, you're required to include a rental permit number.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that, so I like.
So we sent a letter to tell you all that.
Right, but
You never
I didn't know
contacted us.
that we had a short-term permit rental, for listing. I put it on Airbnb because Airbnb is free, and I use it for my students, and I use it for the nurses, and it's a free advertising, right? rather than like Furnished Finder, which is like $300 a year, and then like all the other websites are like $700-800. So to make an add-on Airbnb is free.
Okay, so we sent the letter on 6/8 of 2023, and as of today, it is still not approved as a short-term rental.
It is not
So
for this
this
season.
bill that she's received in December that
For
for $7,200 that she's now appealing, it,
The whole month
is
is only
for-
$300.
I'm sorry,
I said the whole month, I have the leases and I have the student leases.
the fee is $400 a day.
I know, that's a lot, that's insane.
That's
Takes
But
up
I'm
a
not-
lot of.
That is
But I'm
what your
not
city
doing that.
council,
I'm,
again,
I
we
know.
don't control those fees.
I guess I'm just saying, like, I'm not doing that, I have a lease, and it's $4,300 and $4,350 to rent for the month. They coordinate themselves, it's 3 people on a lease. I don't tell my tenants in the winter what to do and when to come and go, they pay and they do
Does she
it.
have long-term rental on this?
Yeah.
She does.
Yeah, it's baseball in the summer and,
Yeah.
and
Well,
college kids.
It does say, on the letter that you sent on June 8th of 2023, it says, any use of a property for occupancy for less than a 30-day term of tenancy, or occupancy for less than 30 days of a property for residential use, leased or owned by a business entity, not including hotels, blah, blah, blah. Well, she's not a business entity, so that's okay. What you're saying is that you had leases for 30 days.
Yeah,
So she had 3 30-day leases, one for June, one for July, and one for August. And those people had the right to be in that apartment.
on the house,
I'm not-
whenever they
I
want.
understand what she's saying.
Yeah, but only
that
those.
I understand that there's
would
also-
be still covered under her rental agreement because it's not less than 30 days.
That's why I thought that was okay.
But all 3 families couldn't be there at once, it'd be overnight.
But it's
Well,
a,
there's
it's a
one
summer
for
share, like a
July,
camping
one for
share,
July.
they organize
You're
among
using a
themselves.
technicality there,
Wait,
my
but,
boots aren't high enough.
but if you do a summer share house, like,
Okay,
which
but
I've done in the
No,
Hamptons.
your
you're
people
interpreting it.
reviews are all saying they stayed for 6 nights, 6 night stay, 6 night stay, 6 night stay. These are all your
I talked to
Airbnb
the family
reviews.
and they assured me they were there for less than a week, whatever the camp was running at the time. It was a husband.
Is it possible your tenants are subletting and you don't know it?
No, I'm renting to baseball families. If they wanna come, they want it for the whole month, if they only wanna come for 6 days, or 7 days, or 9 days. or they
So
wanna sit-
Julie and
But
Melissa,
they're on a lease together.
Melissa and Jennifer all knew
share.
each other before you, is what you're saying?
They all rented together. I
So
mean, all,
they were a
Well-
conglomerate before your Airbnb rental, is what you're saying?
no, they come to me and then I put them together, just like,
So you're short-term renting
But wait,
two
wait,
people, is what
but
I'm
that's
saying.
just like my, but that's
No.
just like.
Okay, that's, yeah.
But wait,
What we're
I
saying is
didn't
that you are putting together a conglomerate of people to short-term rental for to rent for 30 days together, knowing that they're only there a week per family.
No, but they're
So
not
that
only
is,
there.
they are saying, right
But
here
some
in
of
black
them-
and white,
Then they stay longer, some of them stay longer, some of them come, like, it
I was
all
there for
changes.
6 nights, 6 night stay. Stayed with the kids for the baseball week. Oh,
Right.
they only play for 5
But,
days.
I mean,
We
they're-
all know, because the fireworks go off every Thursday or Tuesday, now that they
Okay,
changed the
so-
schedule.
is it the baseball families that you guys are like against?
No,
Absolutely
no,
not.
anything
It's
less
not.
than actual-
No, it's we have
Your-
zoning code, it
it's
says you can't
okay.
do
The
short-term
code.
rental. in
And your
yard.
property is beautiful. I
So,
saw the
I mean,
pictures
I'm
of your
just
property.
trying,
It is
I'm trying to
beautiful.
be good and I've
However,
done
we have to
nothing but
follow our
nice stuff.
code. We follow the code, and that's all we can do here is follow the code. So if you're putting families together on a 30-day lease, that means they don't know each other, then they are not leasing together. You
But
put
they-
them together to try
And
to,
they're not 3 or less.
Wait,
Right.
but you guys, my tenants that come to me for the school year, they also don't all know each other.
But
I don't
that's,
understand, and then they all go
long-term rental
on,
is
wait, but
different.
then they all go on a lease together, they all go on a lease, like, the girls all come in, and then they room
Then they
together.
occupy the building all year.
all year.
Well, they leave
Well,
whenever
9
they
months.
want. No, it's a 9-month lease.
So I just want to add some backstory to this. We've talked to Gillette in the past about short-term rental. We've also requested that she fill out a variance in
Oh.
order to do short-term
Wait.
rental.
I can do that?
We talked about this 5 years ago.
But I thought,
I've literally talked to you about this very topic.
right, but I thought you guys said that like,
You can
You
put in
had
a
to-
zoning variance, you can request
but
from the
that you
zoning
had
board
to
of
live in
appeals.
the house. Am
You
I
can-
wrong?
Colette,
Delete.
6 years ago, I talked to you about getting a zoning variance for the property that you were using on Center Street
Okay.
for, I believe, short-term rental. And you started the process with Robert G. Peasy down at Delaware Engineering,
Okay, right.
and then you never did it.
Okay, so I think when I went to Robert, it was right when I first bought, and he
Okay.
said, okay, I'm just.
So I'm just saying, this is all
I hear you.
pre-existing
So he
backstory.
said, it's not a
She's
story,
using-
that's,
Yes,
I don't know
we
what,
can
there's
continue
no need to be
with
aggressive.
I'm not being aggressive, I'm just saying, we've talked to you in the past about short-term rental and zoning
Okay, so the
variances.
zoning variance,
I can
am I correct that they haven't been given?
She's,
I don't know, you have to
Somebody,
appeal
right.
to the zoning board of appeals.
yeah,
Can I ask a question about that? Because that is right. I remember that a long time ago about the zoning variance. But then I've gone to the gentleman that you said to
Robert G.
talk to.
Peasy, yep.
Okay, and he said, don't do it. They don't give it out to anyone. It's gonna cost you $400.
Okay,
And they
so
don't get it.
that's the
Have you
process.
guys given any of them?
That's the process. You would appeal to the zoning board.
I just, that's why.
That's a function of the
See, that's
government.
why I just went to 30 days, because I thought that was legal.
I have nothing else to say.
Okay, so now that we've heard everything,
I'll make a
we
motion.
haven't done everything, but
I mean, do you want to see my leases or
we'd be happy to accept the leases that you have, but
Okay.
we still believe that you're violating the code.
But I'm not violating the code, there's not a belief, it's just like, there's a lease, so doesn't that matter?
Let me ask, John, or
That's what blows my
Stephen,
mind, like,
Stephen, John, and
you guys are
Stephen,
gonna be like, well, the intent is
her
different.
property at
25 Center,
25 Central,
Central, excuse me.
during her long-term rental, for her ability, her CFC.
Well, she currently doesn't have a balance, easy.
That's what they're saying.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Right, but
That-
her,
That's
for
when
her,
I was there for the housing
Wait.
inspection and it was a
Okay.
no-show.
right, well, for her rental
I don't have one?
business that takes place
It is
during
fine.
the school year,
2022.
Ugh.
is she limited to 3 unrelated individuals in
Yes.
that
That's,
property?
that's our code.
Yeah, I mean, no, I didn't know whether it's a multiple house, like it's a house with
It's just a
multiple.
house.
Single family.
It's a single family house, okay,
Right.
right, then she's done.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to deny the appeal by Reverend Phil, and I've seconded it.
So you guys are gonna charge me
Do you have any other
$7,200?
discussion?
Yes.
What? I mean,
We
do
didn't,
not set the code.
okay.
We don't have set the
and we
fees.
didn't vote yet, so let us
so
vote
can you
first,
explain to me,
and
like, so
then
if
you'll
you,
know if it's a
wait,
yes.
if you guys do
Yeah.
want
Chair
Airbnb,
Levinson?
Yes,
do you
Commissioner
want
Arnold?
short-term people
Commissioner
here?
Mercick?
I don't understand, like, I don't
Commissioner
understand
Mercy?
what I'm doing wrong.
Legally, they want.
You
Commissioner
I think I
you're
just don't understand what I'm
renting
doing
your
wrong.
property illegally.
But I'm not, I'm
Yes.
getting
Well,
to.
you currently don't have a rental certificate, so
I'm
you're signing
sorry,
leases. in
we're
the-
in vote,
That I didn't know.
can you
I
stop
didn't
speaking,
know.
please? We're voting right now, and we're waiting for Chair Mercy's vote.
Commissioner Mercick?
Oh, yes.
It's just happened.
class action lawsuit.
Okay, well, can I, just like, can we?
Sure,
put
you
these
can
in?
give them to the clerk. Carrie, I would suggest we have Dave look at these, because this may be a future issue.
So, should I?
My
stop my-
suggestion is
should I
that
stop
you
your
speak
attorney?
with code, my suggestion is that you speak with code and figure out what you need to get the property in compliance, because the fees are still accruing. This bill is just the end of year bill,
Are
am
you
I correct?
serious?
Uh,
No, it can't be.
No, it's.
these are different, these are set for a determined number of days.
Right,
we
but that was
charged
the
her.
end of the year, so you just, that's it, we're done? No, because she's still not in compliance.
She is done for 2023.
Correct,
If she is short-term renting, I would advise you seriously to,
that is what I'm
Come
saying, so this year,
Five
there will be
short-term
fees
rentals.
accrued if you do
Oh
not
my
get
God,
the
you guys,
proper
it's-
paperwork in place. Okay, so the
Okay.
next property we have on record is to look at is 89 Clinton Street.
So,
And-
wait, what
You
if,
can talk to the code enforcement officer. If you want to go
Sorry.
outside and do that, you can. And
okay,
they'll be able to answer your questions.
So this property, 89 Clinton Street, was about water sewer bill appeal, and this was regarding that the owner says that the neighbor presumably uses similar amount of water, and they requested a usage report, which they received. There were several abnormalities in 2023. They've attached a photo where they did simple math based on the city's meter reading, and the meter's saying that they have used 196 gallons per day.
What did they actually, or what was the actual differential in the usage?
Well, this is the property that we literally just got the,
Yeah, well, we had it before because we tabled it, but.
no, we didn't have it. This is the one we knew was coming, so we asked them to, this is last month, we knew that this was gonna come to us for an appeal, and so we asked to be proactive and have it
Could we take a
inspected.
quick look at
Yes,
this?
absolutely.
Well, thank you anyways.
Thank you, sorry, thank you so much. Good luck. So they went to the property, DPW went to the property,
Oh, they just had a big usage at the end of the year.
yes.
Their bill could have been that high.
I don't have their actual, they didn't
They
include
didn't
their
include
bill
their bill.
with their appeal.
The ERT on the meter reads, and the meter did not turn at all while they were in the, DPS was there. They didn't see any leaks. And according to, the email that I received from Mary Ann, they told them that they could have the meter checked, and the owner decided not to pull the meter to test it. So that's where we are.
Yeah, I mean, they went from, their bill essentially doubled, well, less than doubled. But,
There was a couple of months, like,
but they're,
June, and that was a little bit high too. Of 22, but it was pretty consistent till
John,
the end
can
of the
I
month.
ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Is 89 Clinton Street a rental?
Do you wanna? I'll let her talk.
Okay, so Gwen, I should be asking you, is 89 Clinton Street a rental?
Let's see. No, it is not.
Okay.
So there were no leaks. The meter seemed to be fine, and they did not request for the meter to be pulled to be
For some
tested.
reason, they had a running toilet, I mean,
And sometimes it happens, as we've seen how many times.
right, but it isn't it appeared from my quick glance at the water bill, or the water usage chart, that that some earlier months, like in 2022 and 2021.
Or 12,000 as well.
They used about the same amount, so it's not unusual for them to use that. And again, I would suggest they cover it. I would make a motion that we deny their appeal.
Thank you.
And instruct them that they can check on a monthly basis just to make sure they're still under the usage. But they, make sure we send them that chart, Carrie.
Yeah.
I'll second it. Any more discussion? Okay, Karen? Yes. Commissioner Mercer?
Oh, yes. Oh, we already got that.
Okay, last on the agenda we have is 2 Sand Street in
Okay,
Oneonta.
did you already determine that this was unsafe, and do you have?
I did, so, I was waiting on the certified letter to come back, or the certified receipt to come back. I have a copy in the computer, but I had an edited copy in the computer that was slightly different. This one, we had an initial complaint in 2023.
It's not.
Yeah, this has been.
This is ongoing. I know the daughter, she actually, the daughter of the woman that lives there, works, I believe, still for Peter Clark, if she's still.
Oh, so yeah.
Glad I asked him to be here.
And mom's a hoarder, I mean, and of course, there's an issue there with property lines, they've argued over that with the one on,
One side.
It looks like their property goes down the hill too. It looks
Um,
like a hill.
Valley View, there's a house for sale for
Oh,
Valley
right,
View.
right.
It's right next door, but it's
Yeah,
on
I
the
know,
downhill side.
but it looks like their property goes down over the bank to,
It does, yeah,
To the
North
bank.
Belmont.
it does, yeah. So the concern here then, when I initially talked to the owner on Valley View was she was actually complaining about rats.
Hmm.
And I said,
And
okay,
overgrown weeds and everything,
I'm
right?
not surprised.
she was mentioning that too, but I was like, where are the rats? And the only evidence I saw at the time was we went in the garage and there were holes in the bottom of the siding that a pest made, something made. I don't know if it was a squirrel, I don't know if it was a rat.
And they may be in the property, she's a hoarder. It may be that there's food.
Very well
Yeah.
could be. And of course, I can tell you there's a house right now that is filled with rats, and you never know it from looking on the outside. But I got a call from NYSEG, and they said it is a den of rats. But this
Are we
one in
gonna get them
particular,
Yeah.
yeah, you're not gonna hear from the owner though, that's the only thing, it's abandoned, so. This one, that front door, well, I do have a video of the
Right,
front door.
I have the front door.
But the front door, if you go to the
Right,
front,
that's
there
it.
it is. That is inaccessible, and you
Oh.
can see it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Officer LaPointe responded to this property, and she said she went to the front door, knocked, realized that you couldn't even access the front door, went to the back
But how
door.
do you get in the back you can't get in either.
There's a lot of stuff in the way. And Officer LaPointe went to the window and said she looked in and it is filled. And she said, yeah, I was very concerned about egress.
Okay.
So one of the bases for an unsafe is egress. And even though this is a private home, even though there's a single occupant, we're still concerned about fire safety here, and I think
Okay,
that is enough to declare it unsafe.
so probably
So E, you're saying E?
those that have been so dilapidated, decayed, unsafe, unsanitary, so utterly fail to provide amenities essential to living, are unfit for human habitation.
G for egress.
Right, for egress, G for egress, I for those which are unsanitary.
And this isn't a chapter zoning issue, right?
No, unless they're starting a junkyard.
Okay. Building structure, I mean, it's not vacant. Okay.
I think probably,
So
so it's
E,
E,
G, and I.
and I. Is it something that you, as the code enforcement office, could make arrangements to have the outside cleaned up?
I think the biggest problem is the,
We would look for an order from you guys to have the exterior cleaned, and then we'd relay it.
Okay,
via
so
the
that
clerk.
would be
And then
after the determination.
I, at this point, I mean, again, we don't usually inspect private residences unless we have a problem. I sort of want to get an inspection.
well, if we
Well, let's
have
make
an
the
officer
decision
saying you can't
first.
get
I
there,
think Jenny
so,
has a question for you.
yes.
May I add to this conversation? I spoke with the person that lives on Valley View, which is basically their neighbor. She has not been able to, they want to sell the house because they want to get away from this property location. And the buyers, the potential buyers that they've had have rescinded their contract because of this neighbor. She's also witnessed the occupant of that house crawling in through the basement window to put wood in the furnace. And she's also, the rats that are located at that house are ending up in her
hers.
garage. And so that is, I just wanted you to have that information.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that declare this unsafe property, with, our city chapter 92.1 E, G, and I. I don't need to reread them again, right, for you, Karen Ann?
Well, second to, it's his daughter. She doesn't live there.
Okay, can we call,
Chair Levins?
yes,
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Mertens?
Yes,
okay,
I make a motion that we order this repaired, that we order an inspection, that we order the code enforcement office to make arrangements to clean up the exterior, and have,
I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention one more thing. We do this, and again, we've got a house filled with rats somewhere, you can tell from the outside. We have required pest reports before.
But I was
Putnam
wondering
comes,
if it's that bad, is it gonna be like coming
I'm
at you
good for
when you
that. I
start
was
coming in?
just
well,
about to,
that validates whether there's an infestation and how it's gonna be treated, and that report it gets to us, and we're like, okay, there is an infestation.
So do you
Yeah,
want
I-
that first, is what you're saying to us?
I was just hoping you'd include that in
Oh,
motions.
I'm good, she's
Pest
going,
report.
I
keep going.
was planning on.
She's on it.
All right, so far we have
Order
repaired
repair,
within
inspect by code.
30 days, inspected by code, immediate cleanup of the outside and immediate infestation
Pest report.
evaluation.
How many days do you want that, within 3
Let's
days?
say
30 days.
7.
30 you want?
No.
Well, I mean, so what you're dealing with here is if these are state code violations, we're required to give a certain amount of time. It's
Okay.
stipulated in the state code.
So all 4 of these 30 days, you're saying?
So the outside garbage, no, but access to the property, like, we have to get a warrant, we have to do something in court to access that property, it's gonna take more than 7 days.
So the
But
repair,
Putnam can still do the assessment and you can still clean up the outside right away.
Well, Putnam, she might say, no, I'm not gonna do Putnam, I'm not gonna have them come do it, and we might have to use a court to then take this.
And we'll do an
so you're
active
saying repair has to be 30 days, Steve?
I would say compliance with New York State code
No,
is 30 days.
I can amend it, I'll
Local
use those
ordinances,
words,
you can say whatever you
amend Marge's to use those words.
Yes.
Cause I just don't wanna say 7 days, and then we're like 7 days from now, we're like, we can't get in there because we need a warrant.
Okay,
Cause this
so.
isn't like a rental property where we can just go.
So
where a
you're
tenant
agree
might
that
say,
you have
"Come on."
Carrie to serve as aware?
Okay,
So
well,
you're ordering compliance with New York State code within 30 days, you're ordering the property to be, you're ordering the property to be repaired in compliance with New York State code within 30 days.
yes,
An
that's,
inspection by code enforcement to arrange code enforcement's immediate cleaning of the exterior, and then ordering a pest report.
And you can do that within 7 days.
And this could all be
Pest report
7
can be
days?
sent.
Yeah, you can include all that stuff in 7 days.
Okay, so this is all 7 days, 7 days.
Stuff that's like local ordinances, we can do easy.
Okay. And I second it. Okay, call roll. Any discussion? Sorry, call roll.
Chair Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Mertens.
yes,
And the last thing we need to do is,
approve the
approve
minutes.
our minutes. And there was,
The other meeting in May 14th too?
They're coming.
Oh,
They're
we're
not in
gonna
the
have
packet.
in the packet.
No, they're done, they just haven't made it to the packet.
Okay.
I don't even know what day it was, Mark.
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
okay, and it's-
Chair Levinson,
yes,
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Mertens.
Yes.
thank you, everybody.
I'll just ask.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm getting questions from one council member and possibly other people that reside on Richards Avenue. Is there any options for me to offer people who would still like to appeal the water and sewer bills that lives on Richards Avenue that was affected by the explosion?
For this year's 2024,
I've told them that the appeal date has gone by because we've passed the 60 days.
so I will say that the other ones we denied because it was, I mean, they were the baseline bills, and it was only the 9th that it happened, and then, but I don't know if there's excess, I mean,
Well, no, the issue was that some of them are not coming back.
right?
And therefore, they
There's
shouldn't
right now
have,
4
they
houses
shouldn't
that have.
prepay for 2024. The other ones are still in their houses, using their houses, some of them
No,
not.
there's quite a few houses that there's nobody in, and they're there, the houses are there, but they're still being cleaned out. So,
They're gonna get the minimum. They're gonna get the minimum. Like, what can we do about that? We're not gonna reduce the minimum just because they couldn't be in their house. People go to Florida, they can't, they still have
that's
to
why I
pay
was
the
saying
minimum.
about the other house that we had the appeal with, it was the minimum bill, it was the baseline bill, and it was a couple of days they were in the house, I mean, unfortunately, but,
I just wanted to check with you, just.
No, I think
I think we have to stick by the
can't
code.
Because because chances are it'll be the minimum. I mean, when they get their bill in 2024, they can tell us whether,
You mean 2025?
24, but it'll be for usage in 2024.
Right.
I mean, if they had no usage,
But now,
they still.
Ginny, explain to me you were talking the other day last month, about the the other day. The baseline is those houses that are not, I'm trying to word my words properly, sorry. The houses that are no longer in existence, they're still gonna get a bill?
Yes.
Because there is water that they can access if there was something on the property.
The annual billing is comprised of two things. It's comprised of what we call the minimum billing, which is a prepayment, but it's also, the minimum bill includes the cost to get the infrastructure to and from the house. And it also includes the first 37,000 gallons of water that will be used in 2024. It also includes the excess of whatever was over the 37,000 last year. So at the end of December, we'll take a reading and we'll see if they went over the 37,000, and if they did, that excess will be billed in the spring of 2025.
So then I guess the question really therein lies, these houses that aren't existent anymore, there's 4 properties that don't exist.
If they don't exist anymore and they're unhooked from the main, I have no problem.
But the only problem
But
is our code says that even if they're still hooked to the main, we do not know.
We still bill.
We still bill.
That's what I'm saying.
We do not know if from the explosion, if any damage happened to the connection between our
Which I'm
main
sure
and the house, because that's not gonna be known until it's dug up. So,
You have to excavate and disconnect, right?
So
To
there
make it
are,
completely not-
I don't know for sure, but word on the street is that there's 2 more houses that are gonna be taken down. One house was fixed immediately, so where the explosion was, the house to the left and right are both gone and cleared. The house that had the explosion is still not cleared, there's still a lot of debris there. And then the house if you're facing the house to the left, they were fixing that house, so they'll be moving back in, but the houses across the street are still not in because their insurance.
Like Penny's.
Yeah, there's 6 down the opposite side of the street, and then there's 4 more on that side of the street that are they're vacant.
I still think that if there's a structure there, I mean, if the houses are eliminated,
Yeah,
then their insurance might pay for them to disconnect from the main. But why would they do that? Because probably would want to sell that lot and have a new house there. So, I mean.
now what happens if they go to rebuild, let's say, and they hook up and there's a problem with the lines?
well, that would be a question more for Chris Yakabuchi, because I don't know the process of repairing lines, but I think what would happen, and Scott, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that we would have to excavate to see where the breakage was. If it's broken on the public property with the main valve, that would be our expense, but if it's broken between the connection to the house, then that's the homeowner's expense. Anything on private property is.
Their insurance is going to take care of it. I'm sorry. We said no to Stella Luna, who had no usage for years. So I think we have to say, no, I mean.
Okay, so I will just tell them.
We can't change the bills.
Right, well, I'll tell them the appeal process is
It's
closed.
over.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you, I just wanted
Thank
to
you
make
so much.
sure